Ladies and gentlemen, there is something incredibly powerful about silence. It's the strength and restraint, the quiet that speaks louder than any words could ever do. You see, in life, when someone wrongs us, we feel this intense urge to retaliate, to speak our mind, to give them a piece of our heart and soul. But here's the truth. Your silence, your calm, your self-restraint will break them in ways anger never could. Anger is often a reaction. It's a quick, fiery explosion that burns brightly and fades just as fast. But silence? Silence is a force that lingers. It has depth. It creates space where reflection can happen, where the other person starts to question their own actions. They'll look for your response and find none. They'll wonder why you didn't react, why you didn't let the flames of anger burn. When you stay silent, you don't allow their words or actions to control you. You take back your power. Silence doesn't let emotions dictate your behavior. It's not that you're weak. No, you're strong enough to stay composed. Silence is the art of maintaining your dignity when others expect you to fall apart. It's the quiet strength that makes a lasting impact, far more enduring than the fleeting rush of anger. Let them talk. Let them act. But never let them control you. Your silence will break their perception of you, their understanding of what they thought they could provoke. It'll leave them with their own thoughts and the weight of their actions, while you remain untouchable. You don't need to say a word to teach a lesson. Sometimes, not saying anything at all is the most profound statement you can make. So, next time life challenges you, when someone pushes your buttons, remember this: silence is your secret weapon. Let them talk, let them think they've won, and then watch how your silence outlasts their every expectation. Real strength isn't in reacting immediately, it's in holding back and controlling your emotions. Restraint allows you to focus on what truly matters. Anger wastes your energy, silence preserves it. When you choose silence, you conserve your inner strength for the things that really count. When you remain silent, others are forced to reflect on their own actions. They have to deal with the consequences of their behavior in a way that words can never achieve. By staying silent, you take back control of your emotional state. Anger makes you reactive, but silence makes you proactive. When someone expects a response and gets none, they begin to question themselves. Silence holds people accountable in a way that anger simply doesn't. Words are fleeting, but silence is lasting. A well-timed silence can leave a more powerful impression than any retort. True maturity comes when you're able to resist the urge to react emotionally. Silence shows you're capable of handling life's challenges without losing your composure. In moments of tension, silence allows you to think clearly and make decisions from a place of wisdom, not reaction. When you choose silence over anger, others will respect you more because you've shown that you're above the drama and chaos of knee-jerk reactions. Anger gives away your power. Silence is the one thing no one can take from you. It's a demonstration of your strength, and it's the one thing that can truly break those who try to provoke you. Mastering the power of restraint is about learning to control your impulses, especially in the heat of the moment. In life, it's easy to fall into the trap of reacting to every little thing that comes your way. People will say things, situations will unfold in ways you didn't expect, and emotions will rise up, trying to push you into action. But the true measure of strength is in how well you can control that impulse to react. It's not that you don't feel anger or frustration, everyone does. It's that you choose to hold on to your response until it serves you. When you learn to master restraint, you're not letting your emotions make decisions for you. You're taking the time to consider your actions, and more importantly, the consequences of those actions. Think about it. When you react immediately to every challenge, you end up spending a lot of energy on things that don't deserve your attention. Anger, for instance, burns brightly and quickly, but it burns out just as fast. It gives you a temporary release but leaves you empty, sometimes even regretful. Restraint, on the other hand, gives you space to think, to evaluate, to choose how you want to respond, not based on your emotions, but based on what's going to bring you the most value in the long run. By exercising restraint, you're also teaching others how to treat you. When you don't give in to every provocation, you demonstrate that you won't be easily controlled. You set a standard for yourself that says, I am the one who decides how I will respond. Not you, not the situation. This creates respect. People begin to see that they can't manipulate or provoke you with their words or actions. They'll realize that you're in control of your own emotional state. Restraint is a skill that builds over time. The more you practice it, the stronger you become. And as you master this power, you'll notice that your life begins to change. Your decisions become more thoughtful. Your relationships become more solid, and your personal growth accelerates. The less you react to every small disturbance, the more peace you find within yourself. And that peace, my friend, is one of the greatest forms of success you'll ever achieve. Your energy is one of your most valuable resources, and yet it's often something we take for granted. Every day, we're faced with decisions, some big, some small, that require our attention and effort. But what many people fail to realize is that your energy is finite. You don't get an unlimited supply. Once it's spent, it's gone. So it's critical to understand the value of how you direct it. Think about your day. How much of your energy is spent reacting to things that don't add value to your life? How much of it is wasted on arguments, unnecessary drama, or situations that really have nothing to do with your goals? If you're constantly pouring energy into these distractions, you're essentially leaking your potential. You could be investing that energy into things that move you closer to the life you want to live, the person you want to become, and the success you want to achieve. Protecting your energy means being selective about where you place your focus. It's about learning to say no to the things, people, and situations that drain you. It's about setting boundaries, whether that's with your time, your attention, or your emotional involvement. Every time you get pulled into an argument or a situation that doesn't align with your values, you're giving away a piece of yourself. You're allowing someone or something else to control where your energy goes. But when you learn to preserve your energy, you begin to see the returns in all areas of your life. You're going to consciously invest in the returns that proceed from the outside you know best. So invest in peace. By focusing only on what truly matters, you free up space to give your best effort where it counts most. The relationships that matter, your career goals, your personal growth, they all thrive when your energy is being poured into them deliberately, not scattered on the whims of every external influence. Your energy is precious. It's the fuel that drives your actions, your mindset, your results. So stop letting it leak out on things that don't deserve it. Instead, be strategic. Invest it wisely, protect it fiercely, and watch how it multiplies in the things that truly matter. When you take care of your energy, you take care of your future. Silence has a unique way of creating room for reflection. In a world where everything moves at lightning speed and everyone has something to say, it's easy to get caught up in the noise. But in the quiet moments when you choose not to react or speak, something incredible happens. You create the space necessary for true reflection, both for yourself and for others. When you remain silent, you allow yourself the time to process what's happening around you. In the rush to respond or defend ourselves, we often miss the opportunity to gain clarity. But silence gives you the chance to take a step back, assess the situation, and decide how you want to approach it. It's not about being passive or disengaging. It's about being strategic. When you're silent, you give your mind the opportunity to sort through the emotions, facts, and feelings without rushing into a decision or a response you might regret. This space is invaluable. It allows you to see things from a different perspective. It allows you to separate yourself from the noise and focus on what really matters. Whether it's a tough conversation, a challenging decision, or a situation that has the potential to escalate, silence gives you the time you need to weigh your options thoughtfully. Instead of reacting out of emotion, you can respond from a place of wisdom and understanding. The same is true for others. When you choose silence, you allow others the space to reflect on their own actions. Sometimes, when people try to provoke you or challenge you, they're doing so because they want to get a reaction. When you don't give them that, when you stay quiet, it forces them to confront their own behavior. It creates an environment where they have to think about what they've said or done and whether it was truly necessary. That space for reflection can change the course of a conversation, a relationship, or even a life. In the silence, there's power. It's the power to think, the power to reflect, and the power to allow others to do the same. It's an invaluable tool that can bring clarity to chaos, wisdom to confusion, and peace to turmoil. So the next time you're faced with a situation that demands a response, remember this: silence isn't empty. It's full of possibilities. It's a space where reflection can happen, and in that reflection, growth takes place. One of the most empowering lessons you can learn in life is that you are the one who defines your emotions, not other people or circumstances. Too often we allow the actions or words of others to dictate how we feel. Someone says something hurtful and suddenly we're angry. Someone doesn't show us the respect we think we deserve and we feel disrespected. But when you allow others to control your emotions, you're handing them the keys to your inner peace. Yes, you begin to show more grace and compassion so that others can suffer less from the same loss as you had as a child. that you are prone to say certain things you would be proud of and that you used to be with, and that's a dangerous place to be. You have the power to choose how you react. No one can make you feel anything without your consent. Sure, there are moments when others try to provoke you, challenge your values, or hurt you, but the true strength lies in recognizing that their behavior doesn't have to control your emotional state. You can choose to remain calm, to stay centered, and to respond from a place of self-awareness, not a knee-jerk reaction. It starts with understanding that your emotions are a reflection of your values, beliefs, and decisions, not someone else's actions. When you let others define how you feel, you become a passive player in your own life. You're reacting to things that are outside of your control. But when you decide to take control of your emotions, you step into your power. You are no longer at the mercy of others' behavior, but instead, you're in command of your own emotional landscape. One of the most powerful ways to reclaim control is by practicing emotional discipline. This means pausing before reacting, taking a moment to ask yourself, is this really worth my energy? How do I want to feel in this situation? By doing this, you take the power back. You refuse to let external circumstances or people have the final say in your emotional state. You become the one who decides when to engage and when to let go. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. It means you're in charge of them. Emotions are natural and they come and go, but you don't have to let them run the show. You can acknowledge them, process them, and then decide how to move forward without letting them control your actions or your mood. When you stop letting others define your emotions, you start to build an unshakable sense of inner. You become less affected by the judgments, criticisms, or provocations of others. You grow in emotional resilience, and as a result, you become more focused on what truly matters: your goals, your values, and your peace of mind. So, take responsibility for your emotional state. You're the only one who can decide how you'll respond, and once you realize that, you take back your power. Silence has an incredible way of forcing accountability in ways words simply cannot. When you choose to remain quiet in the face of provocation, when you resist the urge to respond to every challenge, you're doing something more powerful than you might realize. You're creating an environment where the other person has to look inward and reflect on their own actions. In most situations, when someone wrongs us or behaves in a way we don't like, our first instinct is to defend ourselves, to explain, or to set them straight. And while there are times when that's necessary, there are other moments when the best thing you can do is nothing at all. The truth is, people often act out of impulse, out of frustration, or because they're looking for a reaction. They want to provoke you, stir something inside you. But when you stay silent, when you don't give them the response they're expecting, you put the focus back on them. Without your reaction, they have nowhere to place the blame or the justification for their behavior. They can't say, I made them angry, or I pushed their buttons. They are left alone with their actions, and they are forced to confront the reality of their own behavior. Silence creates a mirror, one that reflects their choices without any distractions. And that reflection is where accountability lives. When you don't engage with their negativity, you don't let their actions define the situation. You give them a chance to think about what they've done without the noise of a reaction clouding their judgment. In this space, they have to ask themselves, why didn't they respond? What did I do to provoke this silence? In those moments of reflection, they're left alone with the truth of their behavior, and they may begin to question whether it was justified. Silence is not about avoiding confrontation or allowing others to walk all over you. It's about recognizing that not every situation requires a response. And sometimes withholding your energy is the most powerful way to teach someone a lesson. When you stay calm, composed, and silent, you send a message that your peace is non-negotiable, and you won't allow someone else's behavior to dictate your emotional state. Ultimately, silence forces others to be accountable for their actions because it removes the external validation they often seek. When they don't get the reaction they expect, they're forced to reckon with the truth on their own. And sometimes, that's exactly what they need to realize the impact of their actions and how they've behaved. Your silence speaks volumes, more than any words ever could. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, where noise and opinions fill the air, there's something profoundly powerful about choosing to remain silent. It's not that you're powerless or that you don't have anything to say. On the contrary, it's a strategic choice that shows strength, confidence, and control over your own life. When you remain silent in the face of challenges or provocations, you're not simply withholding words. You're sending a message that needs no explanation. Silence communicates that you are in control, that you don't need to respond to every little disturbance that comes your way. It tells the world that you are not easily moved by the noise and chaos around you. You've mastered the art of choosing when and where your energy should go. Think about the times in your life when you've been in a heated discussion and someone tried to provoke you, maybe with harsh words or challenging your beliefs. The instant you react, you give away your power. But when you choose silence, you stay grounded. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The message you send is clear. Your peace, your energy, and your time are far too valuable to waste on things that don't serve you. Silence, however, isn't a sign of weakness or avoidance. It's a demonstration of wisdom. You know that not every situation requires your input, and not every comment deserves a response. Your silence shows that you're thinking, that you're processing the situation before jumping to conclusions. You're not reacting out of emotion, but responding from a place of clarity and intention. Even in difficult situations, silence allows you to maintain your dignity. When someone tries to insult you or belittle you, responding in anger only reinforces their actions. But when you remain silent, you maintain your composure. You send a clear message that their words don't have the power to disturb your inner peace. In fact, your silence often leaves them with nothing to fight against, and that is powerful. Your silence speaks to your strength, your maturity, and your ability to rise above the noise. It's not about being passive. It's about being selective with where and when you invest your emotional energy. Silence cuts through the clutter, and in its stillness, it creates an impression that words can never quite match. The more you embrace silence, the more you'll realize how much it says about who you are, what you stand for, and how much control you truly have over your life. Embracing emotional maturity is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. It's about being in control of your emotions, not letting them control you. Life is full of challenges, frustrations, and moments that could easily throw us off course. But true maturity comes when you learn to respond thoughtfully, not react impulsively. It's about knowing that your emotions are a natural part of who you are, but they don't have to dictate your actions. Emotional maturity is the ability to step back in difficult situations and understand that how you respond will define the outcome. You're no longer driven by the immediate desire to lash out, argue, or prove a point. Instead, you recognize that there's power in restraint, that sometimes the best thing you can do is to pause, reflect, and then act with intention. This takes practice, and it takes discipline, but it is worth it. When you embrace emotional maturity, you stop letting small setbacks or temporary discomforts derail your entire day. You stop reacting to every negative comment, every challenge, every obstacle, as if it's the end of the world. Instead, you acknowledge the difficulty, learn from it, and move forward. You realize that life will always throw curveballs, but it's your response that will ultimately shape your journey. This maturity also comes with understanding that everyone is dealing with their own struggles, and you don't have to take things personally. People's actions often have little to do with you and everything to do with them. When you understand this, you can stop internalizing negativity. You can stop letting others' words or behavior determine your emotional state. You learn not to absorb other people's drama, not to get swept up in their emotional turmoil. True emotional maturity also means taking responsibility for your own emotions. It means recognizing when you're upset, hurt, or frustrated, and understanding that you have the power to process these feelings without letting them spill over into your actions. Instead of blaming others for your emotional state, you learn to take control and navigate through the feelings with grace and wisdom. This maturity makes you a stronger person because you no longer rely on external validation to feel secure. You're not constantly searching for approval or trying to control others' perceptions of you. You develop the inner strength to be at peace with who you are, regardless of what's happening around you. And that peace becomes a foundation that helps you deal with the inevitable challenges life will throw your way. Knowing and discerning goodness in life are in the eye of the hider without doing or knowing. When you embrace emotional maturity, you open yourself up to deeper relationships, greater success, and more profound personal growth. You stop reacting out of fear or frustration and start responding from a place of wisdom and calm confidence. This is the kind of maturity that leads to lasting fulfillment and peace, because you've learned that the most powerful tool you have is your ability to remain calm, composed, and in control no matter what life presents. See, then we learned how to beat two different bosses. We beat the one. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have for gaining clarity in your life. In the constant rush of everyday demands, the noise of the world, and the pressure of making decisions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. But silence? Silence cuts through the distractions and creates the space necessary for clear thinking. It's in the quiet moments that you are able to hear your own thoughts, evaluate your options, and gain perspective that you might miss in the chaos of constant activity. When you stop and embrace silence, you allow yourself the time to reflect on where you are and where you want to go. Life often presents us with choices, some small, some life-changing. And when we're caught up in the noise, we often make those decisions impulsively, without fully understanding the consequences. Silence gives you the gift of time. Time to think. Time to understand your goals, your desires, and your values. It's only when you clear the noise that you can hear your true thoughts, your inner wisdom, and your intuition, which often have the clearest answers. In moments of silence, you step back from the immediate emotions or reactions that a situation might provoke. Instead of reacting from a place of frustration, anger, or fear, silence gives you the clarity to respond with intention. You begin to see situations for what they really are, not as threats or problems to be solved immediately, but as opportunities to learn, grow, and move forward. Without silence, you miss this opportunity. You're too busy reacting to see the bigger picture. Silence also forces you to confront the truth. When everything around you is loud, it's easy to avoid or ignore the things you don't want to. But in the stillness, the truth emerges. You can't hide from it. Whether it's a difficult truth about yourself, a challenge in your life that you've been avoiding, or an uncomfortable decision you know you need to make, silence puts it all into sharp focus. And when you can see the truth clearly, you're in a much better position to act with purpose and confidence. This clarity that comes from silence isn't just about making big decisions. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world. It's about knowing what you stand for, what your priorities are, and what your next steps should be. When you take the time to listen to your thoughts, to sit with yourself in quiet reflection, you strengthen your foundation, you build resilience. Because you know that no matter what life throws at you, you have the clarity to handle it. Silence is the path to clarity because it allows you to remove the external noise, focus on your inner thoughts, and make decisions from a place of wisdom, not haste. It helps you separate emotion from logic, impulse from intention. When you embrace silence, you open yourself up to understanding, insight, and growth. And that clarity, once achieved, becomes the guiding force behind everything you do, helping you navigate life's challenges with purpose and direction. A calm response in the face of adversity is one of the most powerful ways to command respect. It might seem counterintuitive in a world that often equates loudness with strength, but the reality is that composure in the face of challenges speaks volumes about your character. When everyone around you is losing their cool, when emotions are high and reactions are running wild, the person who can remain calm stands out. They don't need to shout to be heard. They don't need to argue to prove their point. Their calmness communicates something much more profound: control, strength, and confidence. People respect those who don't let their emotions dictate their actions. Think about it. When you react impulsively, when you lash out or get caught up in the drama, you show others that you're easily influenced, that your emotional state is determined by the actions of those around you. But when you stay calm, you show that you are in control of your own responses. You've made the decision not to let external circumstances control you. That kind of emotional discipline earns respect because it shows that you have the inner strength to rise above the noise. A calm response also allows you to think clearly and act with purpose. When you're not clouded by anger or frustration, you can assess the situation for what it truly is. You're not reacting from a place of fear, but from a place of wisdom. And people respect wisdom. They respect the person who can see the bigger picture, who can navigate through chaos without being swept up in it. When you choose to respond with calm, you communicate that you are thoughtful, intentional, and measured. These are qualities that people gravitate toward and respect. Moreover, when you maintain your calm, you also set the tone for how others should behave. There's a certain power in being the calm in the storm. When you refuse to get caught up in the drama, others are less likely to do so as well. You become a stabilizing force, and without saying a word, you set an example for how to handle conflict, pressure, or tension with grace. People look to those who maintain their composure because it gives them something to aspire to. Your calmness becomes a model of maturity, and in turn, that earns you the respect of those around you. That is just something that has come to be a bridge that borders everything I've ever done in shaping my life. And I think in general, in the long run, People will remember how you handled yourself in difficult situations, and that memory will shape their perception of you. Did you blow up and act impulsively, or did you stay steady even when everything around you was in turmoil? The person who responds with calmness doesn't just earn respect in the moment, they build a reputation that lasts. People will respect your ability to stay level-headed, to remain composed when others lose control. It's a rare quality, one that sets you apart and makes you a natural leader. Ultimately, a calm response commands respect because it's a reflection of your inner strength, your ability to rise above the chaos, and your commitment to acting with wisdom. When you choose calm, you choose respect, not only from others, but from yourself as well. And that kind of respect, earned through composure and control, is the foundation for long-term success. Silence is one of the most powerful forms of control you can wield in any situation. It may seem passive at first glance, but it's anything but. In fact, silence is an active choice, a strategic decision to withhold reaction and instead command the flow of energy around you. When you choose silence, you are choosing to control the narrative, to control the emotions at play, and most importantly, to control yourself. Think about a situation where someone tries to provoke you, challenge you, or get a reaction out of you. The typical response might be to defend yourself, to retaliate, to argue your point. But what happens when you refuse to engage? What happens when you simply remain silent? You gain control of the situation in a way that words or actions never could. Silence takes away the power of the provocateur because they have no response from you to latch onto. You leave them with nothing to escalate. When you choose silence, you are not reacting impulsively. You're taking a step back, taking a deep breath, and choosing how to respond from a place of clarity rather than emotional reaction. You control the moment by deciding not to get swept up in someone else's drama. In that moment, you have the upper hand because you've refused to be manipulated by the circumstances or the emotions around you. But silence isn't just about avoiding conflict or staying out of arguments. It's about emotional discipline. It's about recognizing that your time, your energy, and your peace of mind are too valuable to be squandered on things that don't deserve your attention. By staying silent, you create space for yourself to assess, to think, and to choose your actions wisely. You no longer give in to knee-jerk reactions. Instead, you make a conscious decision about where to direct your energy. This kind of control also has a profound impact on how others perceive you. People tend to respect those who don't engage in petty conflicts or emotional outbursts. When you stay silent, you show that you are composed, that you are in control of your emotions, and that you have the wisdom to know when to speak and when to remain quiet. You don't need to prove yourself in every situation. Your silence sends a message that your energy is too valuable to be spent on things that don't align with your goals or values. Furthermore, silence often forces others to reflect on their own behavior. When they don't get the response they're expecting, they're left to deal with their own actions. Without a reaction from you, they are forced to look inward and consider why they acted the way they did. This forces accountability. They can no longer blame you for escalating the situation. Instead, they have to deal with the reality of their own behavior. In many ways, silence is the ultimate form of control because it empowers you to control your own response and set the tone of the interaction. You're not subject to the whims of others. You're in control of your emotions, your reactions, and your outcomes. It's a quiet strength, but a strength nonetheless. When you embrace silence, you're not giving up power, you're taking it back. You're mastering the art of self-control, and that's one of the most effective ways to lead yourself and influence those around you.